So I'm not entirely sure why I'm not getting a very sharp image today under the same circumstances as usual, but that's just a beginner thing, I guess. In my last video, I talked about how Dorian Develops is a very authentic YouTuber. So you may or may not know him. If, for example, you find this video through the search engine, you might have no idea who he is, but what I essentially said in the video is that I know a YouTuber who talks about coding mostly, but also really talks about life and the problems in his life and the challenges in his life, which is something a lot of people don't do. Like, for example, if they have a coding channel, they don't actually talk about anything else but coding. And I mean, it's kind of why they started it in the first place. They didn't start it in the first place to talk about their life problems necessarily. But the point is that a lot of them, so not all, but a lot of them, they never really show who they really are. Like, you can make videos and add some personality to it or be authentic in some way or another. That's what I actually like when people do that. I like that a lot. But I've been thinking about whether it's actually fair to criticize these people for not being authentic or being fake, as you should call it. This is also what Dorian did in a video I cited, in which he calls a lot of people on YouTube fake and scripted, and yeah, just following a plan to get as many views as possible, just making the content the algorithm wants, and never really showing anything personal on their videos. And the reason why I made this video today is that I asked myself, after making the last video in which I pretty much also criticized these fake people, I asked myself whether it was like fair, right, to criticize them. And I've been thinking about an important reason why they might not show themselves as much as some others do. And I think it might have to do with that there's a lot of crazy and weird people on the internet, and they might not feel comfortable sharing um their anything about their personal lives online. I remember a YouTuber who was like, it's not in the coding thing, but self-development. So he was talking about his relationships or something, or that what he said that he wanted the relationship, and then he asked himself at some point like, what yeah, or he looked for maybe why he constantly kept looking for the wrong partners or finding the wrong partners. And then he said, well, I don't really talk about my relationships on my channel, but this is a guy with like hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So I guess it's a fair thing if you never really want to, either because you're afraid some people are batshit crazy on the internet, or because you just don't really want to talk about your personal stuff. Yeah, I do think that might be a problem if you have, for example, if you have a self-development channel, which is all about this stuff pretty much. But it's okay if you don't want to share everything. And I guess it's not really like a fair criticism always that they're not authentic because they don't share their stuff. But why I would still call off these people fake is because of another problem, and that's pretty much the most important point I have today in this video. Let's say you have a coding YouTube channel or you have a self-development YouTube channel. These guys are constantly promoting some kind of dream, like an ideal, like you can become. So you might be broke and hopeless right now, but you can become this like awesome software engineer at Google, or you can become this millionaire with 3 million subs on YouTube and your own business and whatever. So the reality is that most people are probably either not going to reach that goal, um, or they find out down the road that, for example, being a software engineer, being a professional coder, is not what they expected it to be. So it turns out that the things they do at their job are actually really boring, and they're not working on their passion, and they end up having spent a lot of time learning something that brings them money, which is supposed to do, right? But they still hate what they're doing, and that's generally not a very good thing. Um, and what's hidden there is that a lot of these YouTubers, at some point, especially like in the coding sphere, like a lot of these guys work professionally as coders, and they found out themselves that it was actually a lot easier to once they got to a certain amount of subscribers, and they could monetize their stuff, and it turned out to be much easier or more fun, or they like the freedom of not having to work that software job. So they're pretty much promoting this dream to someone else. And yeah, especially with this like so-called great jobs at Google, like it sounds great, but there are also like golden handcuffs, like so much pressure on you, and you have no private life because you have no time for yourself and all these things. So you make a lot of money, but you live in very expensive places, so most of this money also goes down the drain in paying your rent or whatever. So they a lot of guys never really talk about that. Some do, and that's great. And as far as self development is concerned, like it's really easy to make all these things look easy, like you can be an entrepreneur and you can have your own business and you can do this and that. Or when it's coding, like you can follow these courses I recommend. But then when you look at official statistics, I think like in one course like 90 or 95%, so I'm just improvising here, but a very very high amount of percentage of people never actually finish the course. So it actually takes a lot of hard work and grit to do anything in life, to be an entrepreneur, to become a software developer. Anything that's hard requires a lot of work, and not everyone is cut out to do that. And I think we should be like more realistic about that and tell people a more realistic story of what it means to do these things. But the problem is um, that this is not like a financially smart decision always, to to speak the truth and to be authentic. So I'm fine if people want to hide their private life and want to have that privacy. I mean, that's pretty much I've interviewed people in the past for a different channel, and some people are really like super open about what they do and they want to talk about it, and others they just prefer to remain anonymous, and that's totally fine. It's just a preference. But I just say, like, if you're gonna do something like YouTube, be authentic in the sense that don't become a sellout. Uh, Set realistic expectations and actually try to help people. It's fine to make money, but actually try to have some moral integrity instead of just being this guy who wants to sell as much as he can, and even, for example, designs courses, or these like weird schemes just to rip off as many people as possible with selling some kind of weird dream that's actually that has nothing to do with reality at all.